It reminds me of an article that I read recently about survey fatigue, and it has to do with data collection. It has to do with taking a leap. It's fatigue. The article was talking about employees are experiencing survey fatigue because companies are deploying more climate surveys, more employee engagement surveys. And the myth that they described was that the fatigue was coming from the increased frequency that these employee surveys are being deployed. But what the authors were arguing is that that is the myth. And what is actually driving perceptions that on this, what's really driving the fatigue is that employees have this perception that organizations aren't going to act on the results. Mm-hmm. And it's from past experiences where employees had not experienced actions taken from past surveys. And so the employees are losing interest in taking the surveys, and they're losing faith in leaders for not acting on the surveys. And so mm-hmm. there's this idea of data collection, but also the idea that leaders aren't taking the leap. They aren't jumping in with both feet down the rabbit hole to act on the feedback that employees are trying to provide. Mm-hmm. So there's
yeah, I love that I love that article, and I know that it's in our chat box. But you know me, I always I've got a copy and want to show it. I love this article, Carrie, and I'm so glad that you brought it to our attention. And it, you know, and it's, we hear all the time that people have survey fatigue inside of organizations as employees. We also hear that customers have survey fatigue, you know, inside of the CI space. And it kind of reminds me of what, you know, what this article taught me was it's just, you know, a couple of decades in front of the suggestion box, right? Remember way back in the day, we have suggestion boxes, you know, for employees. We had suggestion box for customers. And pretty soon we find out, don't do the suggestion box. Well, why? Because, you know, Carrie, you said something like, well, they're not even being opened, you know, but I think that from an employee perspective and from a customer perspective, it was like, I can put all the little ideas in that box that I want. But if I don't see change, I'm not motivated, or I'm not engaged to contribute my ideas. And I think that I loved this article on survey fatigue, because we do need to get feedback inside of the leadership development space, but we have to be honest with ourselves about why people may not be particularly inspired to you know, do another survey. And it has nothing to do with, you know, the survey itself. It has to do with, you know, when am I going to see some change because of this stuff?